If you want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member today. Members get early access to videos, access to all the stream VODs, and exclusive access to emotes as well. So if you'd like to support the channel, become a member today.
Were you invited to the party at Downing Street, or were you not in that circle?
No.
No? Oh, that's a shame.
And I thought the
Because
behavior...
they seemed very concerned about COVID on the TV,
And by the way,
they didn't seem to give a shit as soon as the TV was on.
I thought that was disgraceful. And I thought Boris Johnson and the people working at Number 10 who were having those parties, when I had friends of mine who were literally saying goodbye to their mothers on FaceTime on their phone because they weren't allowed in to see them. I knew people in care homes where it ripped through and killed a third of the people in the home in 2 weeks. And the desperation that people felt. I had a cousin who lost his father who couldn't go and see his dying wife and so on.
It's disgusting.
There were terrible stories.
It's criminal.
Terrible stories.
It's disgusting. So let me ask you a question as a professional, because we're both adults, we're both very smart. As a professional, which is more likely, that the government believed COVID was deadly and everybody should be truthfully afraid and locked in their houses, but because they had this spirit inside of them and they couldn't resist the idea of a party, decided to risk their lives to party, or they lied on the television trying to scare everyone and enslave them and lock them in their houses, knowing it's garbage, knowing it's a lie, and not caring, and had a party behind everyone's backs they didn't think they'd get caught? Which one is more likely?
Just if one person or one group had a party during the throes of COVID does not actually mean that the entire everything about COVID is a lie. Maybe they were vaccinated. Maybe they were overestimating their ability to stay safe. A lot of those people got COVID. Not to mention, we actually saw the opposite happen, at least with Donald Trump here in America. What we saw was Donald Trump behind closed doors acknowledging and admitting that COVID was indeed deadly. And then we saw him publicly claiming that it was just like the flu and it would go away in the summer. Nothing to worry about, LOL. In America's experience, we've had the opposite. I don't know every little detail about this one party he's talking about, but just them being hypocritical about lockdowns and then violating that to have a party or something does not mean that COVID entirely is a scam.
Why don't we just agree that they were a bunch of rank hypocrites, stupid people, who were behaving utterly selfishly.
Stupid.
To the extent that the Queen, when her husband, Prince Philip, dies, is in the church on her own, in a mask, with none of her family around her after losing a rock of 70 years. And it turned out the night before, Downing Street had, I think, 2 parties, including a karaoke party. I think that was shameful and disgraceful.
Well,
so we can agree on that, right?
We can agree on that, and we can wake up and start to realize, oh, maybe the government doesn't care about us. Maybe the government lies to us. Maybe they tell us things and try and scare us, but they don't actually care themselves. Maybe all they are is hypocritical, self-interested people.
Maybe they are.
Maybe they use the MSM to purport their lies, to keep everybody enslaved while they do whatever they want, and that is the matrix in and of itself. And if you speak against it and people...
Can the government lie? Of course. Has the government lied before? Yes. Does that mean everything the government says is a lie? No. What also matters is the evidence. When we hear that COVID is deadly, and then we can see people dying, when we lose loved ones to COVID, then maybe there's some truth to it. When it's not just the US government, when it's internationally recognized as a problem now, the entire world is lying to us, every government is working together to lie to us. Even if you think that the American government was lying about everything, what about all the other governments? At some point, you have to acknowledge this thing is real.
People listen to you. I'll repeat this. Your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance. If you're as big as I was, the most Googled man on the planet telling the truth, you will pay the price, Piers. And that is why I was locked in that cell. And I do not regret it, because I live true to God. I'm not going to sit here as a coward and not tell the truth to people for as long as I live with a bullet in my head.
Let me ask you about the lover boy method. So the suggestion is that you and your brother...
Damn, first of all, incredible pivot. But I'm glad we're moving on. Nice, let's go.
And others, but let's talk about you, that you deployed the lover boy method, where you would make women fall in love with you, you would then persuade them to do webcam stuff, right?
TikTok.
Okay, but wait, let's call it webcam stuff, right?
No, let's not call it that. The indictment is about TikTok.
Okay, what would you make the women do? Or what would they do with you?
I don't make anybody do anything.
Okay.
In fact, let's talk about the lover boy method. So it's very interesting. Let's imagine the Matrix is pissed off.
Traditionally, a lover boy seduces young, vulnerable girls and boys over a lengthy period of time in order to exploit them sexually later on. This practice is being used less and less. Nowadays, lover boys resort more quickly and frequently to threatening their victims. Selecting young, vulnerable, impressionable women and girls, traffickers can be seductive and charming. Yikes.
Then said individual is telling too much truth and everybody is listening to him, and they decide they're going to attack him with sexual assault claims. They say, he's making women do, well, we found conversations where he gave advice on how to go viral on TikTok. He's making women do TikTok, but he isn't being horrible to them. He's not hitting them. He's not being mean to them. So what can we do? Let's use the lover boy method. If I was abusive and mean, they wouldn't say lover boy method. Do you know what lover boy method means? Being nice. He was nice and polite and kind, and
So this is where Google comes in handy? I think he thinks that lover boy method is like the nice guy thing. I don't think he realizes the severity of it. I didn't even realize it either until I just looked it up now. Shouldn't you know this if you're being accused of this? Shouldn't you know this? If this is like one of the allegations against you?
They really liked him as a person, and he told them how to do TikTok.
But that's not what the
He's
lover boy...
a lover boy.
That's not,
of course it is.
Andrew, that's not what the lover boy method is.
Absolutely it is.
The lover boy method is where perpetrators woo victims with the prospect of a loving relationship until they can be forced into abusive situations or a form of slavery.
This is garbage.
That's actually what it means.
The lover boy method is being nice to people so that you work together, effectively what they're trying to say.
No, he doesn't understand what the actual lover boy method is. He doesn't understand that it's like a term.
I was nice to girls who asked me for TikTok advice, and they sang it's the lover boy method. I didn't beat them into doing TikTok. I didn't force them. I didn't threaten them. In fact, I was like, yeah, you're very pretty. You can be pretty famous.
Was there any element of coercion?
How can there be an element? What does that even mean? Let's be professionals here. What does that even mean?
What do you think coercion?
What do words even mean now? Coercion? What? Huh? Are we speaking another language now? Where did language even come from, Piers? Please, anything to get us off this subject.
I was coerced into this interview. You came along to me and said...
You weren't coerced into this interview.
Yes, I was.
Or don't tell me, the bullying...
Here's what happens, by the way, when you don't know what words mean.
SM said, Andrew, you've got to do an interview.
No,
I'm going to fly all the way to Romania to do it.
You didn't do that.
Favor.
You used the lover boy method. You said, sir...
The lover boy method?
Yep. Andrew, this is going to be a very interesting interview. We had a good one last time. You're a nice guy. We have some interesting conversations.
I didn't say you were a nice guy.
I'm going to come along.
Wait a minute.
We're going to make some money from this interview.
Wait a minute.
Money will be made for both sides.
Wait a minute.
You lover boyed me
Wait a
and you
minute.
stole the profit.
Just to be clear, I've had no conversation with you about this interview.
He's literally having like a meltdown right now. Look at him. He looks so mad.
And the conversations I've had with your intermediary were very professional, and I said I would like to do an interview
Were
with
you nice?
I'm always nice.
Loverboy. You can't believe you used niceness to loverboy me because this is a profitable enterprise and I was coerced here.
I make no pretense that I've come all the way from London to Romania to
Correct.
interview you because yes, I want to do it on my show, and that will clearly benefit me and my show.
Am I a full-grown consenting adult who decided to do
the
this
idea,
show?
yeah, but you're not being coerced into doing
Am
this.
I a full-grown consenting adult who decided to do this show?
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't coerced, correct?
But what's that got to do with what I've asked you?
Because you were nice to me and you're saying that...
I wasn't nice to you. I didn't even talk to you.
Being nice is the loverboy method and that
Andrew,
adults have no...
Andrew, I
He's just making this up. So as we know, being nice is the lover boy method. He literally lives in his own little world right now. He's deluding himself into believing that the lover boy method is just this being nice to people thing, which it's not. And because of that now, he is just digging himself deeper and deeper into the grave. I almost feel bad for him, but again, not really. Like, just basic research he could have done.
Responsibility.
I wasn't
nice
nice
to someone. They become your slave.
I wasn't nice to you, and I didn't call you a nice guy.
I feel loverboy. I feel loverboy.
Do you?
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
You had a website, Hustlers University, offering courses teaching husbands and boyfriends how to get their partners into webcam.
Absolutely false. The Hustlers University, which you can go to now, actually, we've changed the domain, it's university.com, is a school which teaches modern wealth creation methods. We teach people how to make websites. We teach people e-com.
Why did you call it a PhD pimping hose degree?
No, you're talking about an old video which was made satirical.
Why did you call it that? Oh, that was satire.
Of course it was. 9 years ago, the internet was a very different place. And if you're going to sit here and say, oh, 9 years ago, you said stupid things on the internet, it's not a gotcha moment because every single person has. So have you.
No, but you'd be very...
So have you because you advocate for the vaccine, sir. So
yeah,
you said
absolutely.
stupid things on the internet.
Yeah.
Right? That's how things go. It's satirical. I also said I'm an astronaut. Do you believe I've been to the moon? Because I haven't, believe it or not. Hustle University teaches children how to make websites, and it teaches.
There's only one reason I'm asking you. Only reason I'm asking you. You've repeatedly said in interviews since you were arrested that you have never categorized yourself as a pimp. You don't think you're a pimp, right?
Well, what about all the rappers? Did you ask Ice Cube if he's a pimp and a murderer and a drug dealer? Jay-Z sold crack.
I'm not interviewing them. I'm asking you whether you have at any stage.
He literally would you consider yourself a pimp? What did you ever ask Ice Cube that? Did you ever ask the other rappers? You know, you have other rappers in here. Did you ever ask them? I never actually saw you sitting down and asking them, huh? It's like, chill.
Of course I've not been a pimp. I've said I'm a pimp. I've said I'm an astronaut. I've said I'm a cowboy. I've said I'm the strongest man in the world. I've said I'm James Bond. Throw me in jail. Put me in jail.
Okay.
I deserve it. 9 years ago I made a joke on the internet.
So here's my question. Are you a fantasist?
I'm not a fantasist.
Do you have a persona that's just not you?
Of course not. I am me.
Well, if you are you, why would you repeatedly call yourself a pimp and then now say you've never been a pimp?
Are you going to sit here and say that because I've once said, oh...
I'm curious whether you're trying to say to me you didn't mean any of the things you said. So I'm asking myself, well, why should I believe anything you say now? In other words, is what you say actually what you mean? Is Andrew Tate real? Or do you have a complete persona that you fueled for money that has nothing to do with the real you? I don't know. You tell me.
I exaggerated on the internet 9 years ago.
Good question. He's basically asking him, are you a grifter? Are you just pretending?
I'd walk into a nightclub and there'd be girls at my table, like every other man who walks into a nightclub, and I'd say, pimpin'. Oh no, put me in jail. 93 days was not enough with the cockroaches. I should go back. This is a matrix attack, Piers. Every single person, every single man out there has done things worse than I've done. In fact, I will argue, if you put 99.9% of men through the level of scrutiny I've been through by multiple federal agencies, you will find a lot worse than him saying he was a pimp on the internet 9 years ago. You will find actual, genuine crime. And I've done nothing. I live true to God. This is all garbage, and it's not real.
Like I said to you, I don't know if you're guilty or not.
I do,
okay.
and I am not guilty.
No,
it's a matrix attack.
I want to be clear to you, I'm not preempting your guilt.
Attack.
I've come here with a completely open mind. You've been charged with serious offences, but I am not going to judge you because I'm not a judge. This is not a courtroom, right? But it's interesting to me that one of the biggest charges against you is that you're a misogynist. And you've always said, I'm not a misogynist. And then the last time I interviewed you, you said, well, I may have said some things that may have been misconstrued. But even in the last week, you've tweeted some stuff, which I'm not even sure if you're aware as you tweet this stuff, how it sounds.
Read it.
Okay, let's read. This is quite a long one.
Sure.
But I think it's important to read it to get a sense.
Get him, please. Yes.
How you view women.
Absolutely.
Any woman I date does not have a job. Okay, so the woman you're with doesn't have a job?
No.
Okay. Do you date other women?
Sometimes.
And your partner's fine with that?
Obviously.
Yeah? And you're fine with that?
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, you think it's fine to be dating other women when you have a mother
I
and
think
a
we're
kid?
consenting adults and everybody can make their own personal decisions.
Okay, fair enough. Why would I be working so hard, you say, to have hundreds of millions for my woman to waste her life in slaved pennies? No, I will give you a life you can never ever afford. Private jets, 5-star hotels, new cars, endless spending money and diamonds. You will be rich because you're praying for me every day and protecting my spirit. I work in the physical world, she works in the spirit realm. Women shouldn't have to work because being a good partner is a full-time job for a woman. Just to look good. All the beauty treatments are time intensive. Not about money, it takes a lot of time. Just to train every day.
I like how he's like nodding along. He's like, yes. It's like opening the book of Proverbs in the Bible right now. Amen.
And stay in fantastic shape. Shops look amazing next to me. I know there are some men who do 100 times more than this on a daily basis, but women are not as organized as men, and achieving anything significant causes them huge amounts of stress. Yeah. They need to have huge sections of their day empty to waste, or they will have a mental breakdown. True. And do you want a woman who's stressed and angry after the commute, unshaven and exhausted? Or do you want a Barbie doll who's always smiling and saying thank you because she did her nails and brought you Prada that day? As a man, unless you're a loser, you're already filthy rich, right? You can get endless sex anyway. Girls are easy. So what can a girl give you? Happiness, vibes, always smiling. Take the edge of a stressful life. Can she always be happy if she's been working all day? No. Just to wake up at 11, gym till 1, one appointment and some shopping. Dress beautiful by 7 p.m. for you to finish working and tell you how strong you are. No matter how pissed off you are, just to always be laughing and smiling and writing little notes about how you're perfect. And just to be playful and funny. She can't do that if she has a job. So your job is being my girlfriend, and now you're a millionaire. Congratulations. Behave and aim for the promotion to wife.
If there is anybody who is going to benefit from the rise of sex robots, it is going to be Andrew Tate. That's what he wants. He's asking for one right now, basically.
The reason I read all that in detail was I don't think you understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition.
Why does Tate look like, he looks like an animal that we would see in National Geographics, like he's about to pounce on his prey.
I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I've probably ever read.
Well, I don't think you understand. One, especially when I'm talking about the fact that women can't handle what men can do, etc. One, it's slightly sarcastic. There's a sarcastic tone.
So do you mean any of this?
Oh, I mean all of it. Any woman I'm with, I will provide for.
Listen, there's a sarcastic tone to it. You must recognize that it's, a lot of it is like satirical, Do you mean any of it? Of course, I mean literally every single word of it.
Any woman I'm with, I will provide for because
no woman should work. They should spend all day beautifying themselves for you, right? And they make you promoted to wife. Your job is being my girlfriend. There are hundreds of millions of women around the world who do a good day's work who still manage to be a very good wife or partner.
Agreed,
right?
completely. But it's my
So
life.
why would you encourage a whole generation of young men? I mean, I've got to be honest, since our last 2 interviews, before you were arrested, I would say every single day I have young men, teenage boys, maybe early 20s, coming up to me asking about you. It's gone on every day since I interviewed you. I'm very aware of your reach. I'm very aware of your influence. And whenever I've been asked about you, they say, what do you think of him? I said, I don't really know. I find myself agreeing with 60 to 70% of the things you say. And I do, because I think a lot of the stuff you say about empowering young men to be confident, to work out, to take care of themselves.
To have enough money to not force their woman to work.
Right, but that's the bit. That's the bit where, when you stray into that kind of language, particularly in the detail where you reveal what you're really thinking, the kind of pathetic, soulless life you want for these women. Where does it allow for being a mother, for example?
Absolutely.
How does the mother of your children manage to find time for being a mother in this routine of love and devotion to you?
How does having a job give her time to be a mother? This gives her all the time in the world to be a mother. One, it's slightly sarcastic, firstly.
What do you mean?
You can tell by the tone.
Do you mean you don't mean it?
No, I mean it.
Well,
but it's slightly sarcastic.
Well, sarcasm means you don't mean it.
No, I mean it. But it's slightly
sarcastic. You either mean it or you don't. It's either sarcastic or it's not.
I mean every single word.
But this is the conundrum with you, Andrew.
Sarcastic.
This is the conundrum with you, right?
It's not a conundrum.
Please call him for this. Yes. Tate is doing this. Trump does it too, where they'll say just both things. They'll be like, it was sarcastic. He's using it as a way to backtrack. You can tell. And then they'll simultaneously be like, no, but I meant it. So that way they can basically just have their cake and eat it too.
It's not a conundrum at all.
You tweet,
and also,
you
what's very
tweet this.
interesting, I tweet this out. I get thousands of women begging me, inboxing me, saying, finally a man who understands he needs to provide for a woman so she can be her best self.
Right.
That's exactly the kind of life that will allow
No, there are definitely women that will absolutely love to be treated like this.
Are they misogynists?
No, but what I think they are, they're people who just basically, it's the old sugar daddy thing, right? They want to have a rich guy who's going to pamper them and take care of them. They don't have to do a day's work. They just have to make themselves look good for you.
Work.
Well, so you say.
Yeah.
But it also, the language that you use here seriously diminishes women who do work. You make them out to be, well, you're not doing your job as a partner or wife. You should be doing your job, which is just to devote yourself to his pleasure and making him happy.
I don't even think that's necessarily what I would have taken away from that, because he's not really saying that to people that work. I think that it's misogynistic in the sense that you're expecting your partner to fit this perfect mold, especially the I don't care how you're feeling, keep a happy face, tell me how perfect I am all the time. That's ridiculous.
Interesting you say that, because I'll put a lot of the fault of this on men. Let's if you want to gender the argument, let's do that. I think that a lot of the reason why women can't live this life, if they so choose, if you're a woman who decides to work, then go to work, I don't care. But if you're a woman who decides she wants to retire, it's because she can't find a man who could provide for her at this level. Do you think when a woman marries a billionaire that she wants to go get a job in Starbucks? Because in my experience, when they marry extremely successful men, they don't want a job. I'm sure Ronaldo's wife isn't begging to go work in IKEA.
Actually, Ronaldo's wife works very hard.
She works for herself, which is different.
And her family.
Of course, which is different.
She's a hard-working woman.
Absolutely, because being a fantastic partner and having a bunch of children is a bunch of hard work. And she also finds the energy to have businesses on the side. Fantastic.
Right. But you don't want women to have businesses.
No, I'm saying if you're with a man of my stature, you don't have to work. Now, if I met a perfect woman and we were together and we were happy.
He's not saying that. That's not what he said. He said you do have to do this certain thing, and you need to fit this mold that I have decided.
A man of your stature, with respect, right now you have no income, no possessions, and you're facing serious criminal charges. I mean, I'm not quite sure what statue you think you're currently selling, but it ain't great.
Okay, well then it's a shame all those women inboxed me after I put that tweet out saying,
I
agree with you.
Oh shit, Piers is throwing some of that British heat.
I think you should interview.
I met a woman yesterday who, when I said I was coming to interview, was immediately like, "Oh, can you put a good word in for me?"
Of course.
Sure. You have a definite appeal to a certain type of woman. There's no question.
I think providing for a woman financially is a man's responsibility. If that means I'm a misogynist, then I'm a misogynist. So you accept you are a misogynist? No, I think a man should provide for a woman financially, completely and utterly. If she wants to work, if my partner were to say to me right now, I really feel like getting a job, it would make me happy, then I'll say work. But she doesn't have to. Her job is looking after the children, looking after me, and being as happy as possible. If you think I'm a bad person...
Looking after me? I don't know. I've never thought about having like a girlfriend or a partner as like someone to look after me. Who can replace the mother role in my life? I don't know. I also really dislike this mentality that like you as the man must be working. Maybe it works better. for the wife to be out working and you're better at home. I say that all the time. It's true that most people, for most couples, that it does tend to work okay if the mother wants to be at home and the dad wants to be off working. That generally seems to work, but it doesn't always work. It shouldn't be this rigid expectation, like, because you're a man, this is the way things must be. It's ridiculous. He wants a mommy robot. That's what he wants. Well, I'm never going to watch WALL-E the same again.
For saying, if you actually read that, read the subtext and context.
I read it all out.
Okay, good. Then you'll understand what I'm saying.
You know I did. You heard it.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is, I'm a man. My life is stressful. My life is pain. I go to jail. I suffer. I have to deal with making money. I have constant endless headache. I do all of that so I can give you everything, but then I get to have you. Your job is to be happy. I want you to smile. I want you to look your best and feel.
Your job is to be happy? Listen, honey, I know that your father just died, okay? But I have a big dinner meeting tonight, and your job is to be happy. That's an insane amount of psychological pressure to put on somebody.
Feel your best all of the time. If I'm a misogynist for saying that I go through so much pain so that we can be financially secure, so I hope the woman I care about does not have to work a job. If that makes me a bad person, then so be it. Because all I'm saying is I want to take care of her in every single realm. I take care of her physical safety. I take care of her financial security.
Come on, Piers, please. Call him out on the fact that he's saying she must be happy.
Job as a man. And if more men acted like me, you will see that the world will be a happier and better place. The women who say, I really want to work, I want a career.
The world would not be a better, happier place. No, in fact, we'd probably see an even bigger uptick of men driving their Bugattis off of a bridge.
That's their prerogative and their decision. They're allowed to do that. But also, often the reason they do that is because they can't find a man they trust to take care of them.
No.
I've had this from women in their own mouth. If I found a man who was financially secure and as smart as you, I wouldn't be doing this garbage job either. Why was I psyoped into working to pay taxes when I should be at home having children with a man I adore? It's a psyop.
Andrew.
I literally feel like this is like a dad calming his son down. Andrew, please, get a grip, Andrew. It's almost tea time, Andrew.
So many women that will listen to that and be laughing and mocking you.
Say,
don't be so ridiculous. I'd have a job that I love. Maybe they're being paid even more than their man, right? The real world isn't the one that you categorize.
The real world is varied and nuanced, but I am talking about my life experience. My experience, any woman I love does not have to work unless she decides to.
Fine, you're the boss, you're in charge, her job is to make you happy, her job is to make herself look good, her job is to work out for your benefit, blah, 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 blah. It is actually just misogyny.
Do you think a woman looking good and working out has no benefit at all to her?
Of course it does.
Okay, so it's not for my benefit, then is it?
No, you see, but when you talk about
the motivation, it's not just for your benefit. It's the motivation. Does she want to? Does she want to go to the gym? Does she want to work out? Is this something she actually desires to do, or is this something she's doing purely because you expect her to do it?
When you talk about young men and you tell them to work out and take care of themselves, I cheer you on, right?
Yeah, Piers just blah 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 him straight into oblivion. Goddamn.
Want that. I've got 3 sons. I want them to feel that way.
Don't you want them to become very rich and successful and have a woman who relies on them and have a beautiful family?
No, but I don't want a woman who's subservient to them.
Why is subservience? Why is a
literally the tone of the tweet I read is subservience? You did another tweet this week. Men love by telling you what to do and not allowing you to make stupid decisions. We save you from the female inclination to make stupid choices. If a man doesn't give you instructions, he doesn't love you. If you won't listen to a man's instructions, you don't love him. The whole language is so ridiculous.
Are you kidding me right now? If a man doesn't give you instructions... Oh, geez.
Well, you tweeted this to 8.2 million people.
Correct. So let me say this. A father loves. Let's say instead of a man loves, let's say a father loves. A father loves disciplinarian. That's how a father will love you. A mother will say, oh, I hope you're happy, hope you're doing okay. But a father will come along and say, no, don't do this. You must do it that way. That's incorrect. It has to be this way. A father will discipline you because a father feels he knows best for you. It's the
Okay. Usually you're not supposed to be disciplining your wife.
Masculine essence of love. When a man loves, he shows that he cares via degrees.
There is a massive difference between a relationship between a father and a child and between a man and a woman in a relationship.
Completely.
And I'm not sure you quite get that.
No, there is a difference. But I would argue, Piers, in the happiest relationships, it's a traditionally masculine role in which the man plays and provides. The female is traditionally feminine. The man is the head of the house. No, I know.
This is not true. Generally, what we know is that when men help out in chores, for example, with household chores, the marriage is smoother. The chance of divorce goes down. There were studies done back in the 70s that found this. Couples that prioritize more equality, treating each other as equals, treating each other's opinions with equal value, tend to have more success.
Abusive way, doesn't beat her up. I'm talking about the man being the head of the household, like I would like to believe you're the head of your household. And he comes along and says what happens and what doesn't happen because he's the man of the house.
No, that's not. That's actually not how most households operate now.
Well, then it sounds like we understand why the entire world's a mess. Because only 10 years ago, that's exactly how the households operated. There was a man of the house, and now we have no longer any clear defined roles. There's no more longer a man of the house. You want to talk about knife crime, kids doing drugs, the crime rate, all of these problems. You want to talk about all of the society.
Because you don't have a dad who's beating the out of you with his belt. No, I'm just kidding. He said that. He said he's not talking about that. But still, what does he even mean? As long as the parents are unified and put up a unified front for the kids, it's generally pretty good. Crime and drugs existed back in the 80s, back in the 70s, back when things were far more traditional, back when the men were the man of the house. Okay? Back then, people were doing crime. People were doing drugs.
Perhaps it's because we don't have any men in the house anymore. Perhaps we need to bring the man of the house back. And the man of the house will come along and be a disciplinarian, and he will make the set rules and the creeds of that house. He will say, within this household, we don't take drugs. That stands for the woman I am with, the children who we have birthed. Nobody takes drugs in this household because this is my house and I'm the man of the house. So it sounds to me like we need to bring it back, sir.
Because he's the man, he's now like the dictator. His wife, his kids, they're like the serfs, the peasants. He gets to make the rules. He makes the decrees. I hear ye decree that bedtime is now at 8 p.m. You dare speak to the king without permission?
It's all good macho stuff, okay? And I know lots of young boys who listen to this and go, wow, that's how I should be. Then I read the detail of your tweets.
It's not how you should be, by the way. If you want to actually be a good father, then you need to be understanding. You need to show empathy. You need to be willing to back down at times. If your kid argues with you, usually that is a good sign, at least as far as a sign that the kid is not afraid to talk to you and confront you about stuff. And sometimes they might argue with you for a good reason. And you realize, you know what, I am being kind of silly. Or maybe I'm saying no because I'm motivated by my own laziness, actually. Of course, there's a time and a place to say, no more arguing, we need to go right now. Or no, you can't argue with me, you need to hold my hand when we cross the street. Stuff like this, obviously. But this authoritarian approach holistically to fatherhood. I put my foot down. This is the rule. Like, you're not going to be a good dad that way. You're going to be the type of dad that your kids are scared of.
We save women from their female inclination to make stupid choices.
Females are emotional.
If a man isn't giving you instructions...
Now, females are emotional.
Hang on.
Piers,
he doesn't love you.
Emotional.
All this stuff is designed to, exactly as you...
No, first of all, Tate's been emotional this entire time. He's been flailing like a flounder on steroids the entire time. And now he's over here saying, females are very, very emotional, you see. I bring this up a lot, but I guess I have to keep bringing it up. They have done studies. They have tracked men and women, and they have tracked, some of those women were on their periods, okay? And all of them had roughly equal amounts of emotional fluctuation. Even the men. This idea that women are these out-of-control emotional maniacs and men are the strong, sound, rational ones is really silly. It might be true that women might gravitate more towards empathy and men might gravitate more towards logic. That could be true, but that doesn't mean that women are not logical or that men are not empathetic.
Just articulated is designed to make young men feel that the only way they can be successful in life is to effectively have their women under control, give them instructions that they have to obey.
Don't buy women Prada and you'll end up in jail.
You can buy them Prada, but let me finish my point. My point is that it seems to me, from reading your tweets, even now, that you have a blind spot when it comes to how they sound. It may be that the legal problems that you're in, which might be extremely serious, and we'll see when the trial happens, but it may be that in your head, nothing you've done is remotely inappropriate, because actually, in your tweets, you can see there's an element there of wanting coercion and control. You want to control women. You want them to be effectively your servants, slaves.
This is pretty slick right here. He just whipped it right around on him. Oh, damn. That was clean.
For want of a better phrase.
Slaves who get Prada and get to work out in the gym and get to look good.
But you understand? But you understand?
It doesn't matter if they're in a dungeon or in a 5-star hotel. It would still be slavery.
The point I'm making.
No, I don't.
Which is, in your head, the line is blurred so much now with this macho rhetoric that you've actually lost track of how this sounds.
Here's all of the things.
Even when I read that stuff to you, I could see you looking at me, and you said, your answer is, I was being sarcastic. No. And I said, well, where? And then you go, well, no, I meant it. Well, it can't be both.
I meant it, and I said,
you either mean it, you either mean it, or it's, well, no, because sarcasm means you don't mean it.
Piers, all the things you've just described.
Do you accept that?
No,
You're a smart guy. You know what sarcasm means, right?
Absolutely. I said it has a sarcastic tone for comedic effect. All the things I'm saying and the things I've said are basically the way the entire world thought only 10 years ago. You may buy into the psyop, you may buy into the new thing.
I don't buy into any psyops.
We just talked about the vaccines.
What is this vague 10 years ago thing?
Yeah, the vaccines weren't psyops.
Of course not. No. So I believe that there should be a man of the house.
You had a polio vaccine, right?
Correct.
Why?
Because I didn't get polio. I wouldn't have a COVID vaccine, so I'd still get COVID. Plus probably myocarditis and have a heart attack. So.
Do you get a flu vaccine every year, Tate? Or are those ones the scams too? So are only some of them scams? You got the polio vaccine. Don't try to make it make sense.
We believe there was a man of the house 10 years ago.
Do you think statistically more people got myocarditis by having the vaccine or not having it?
I think statistically we need to be
You don't know, do you?
Why would I know? Why would I look at the statistics
Why would you bother
and
to-
studies
why
that
would you-
come from the Matrix itself?
So the Matrix, so every fact you don't like, because it doesn't suit your agenda, you just dismiss as Matrix bullshit.
No, I'll give you a very simple way I view the world. COVID can't hurt me, so why would I take their injection?
You don't have to.
Point two.
You don't have to
They
take
tried
it.
to make us, incling you.
Yeah.
You told people
Yes.
they
You know
should
why?
have the vaccine.
You know why?
If they don't have it, they shouldn't leave their house.
You know why? Because at the time,
He sounds like an angry kid mad at the guy who like broke up his family and caused his parents to divorce. You did this.
Because at the time, the scientists, and by the way, scientists is ever evolving. At the time I said that, the scientists said if you had the vaccine, it would prevent you transmitting the virus.
The Matrix
that turned out to be wrong,
Matrix
and they issued updated advice saying further
Did the Matrix make the polio vaccine? That was a good question, right?
studies said that actually you could transmit it.
that
And at that point, you know what I did, which you never do? I held my hands up and went, I was wrong because the advice changed, and now I would not say the same thing. That is called actually evolving opinions when facts change.
Let me give
That's
you
actually how a civilized democracy works.
Oh, is it? We live in a civilized democracy, do we, sir? I actually would argue that point with you for a very long time. I don't think we live in a civilized democracy. Another point I want to make here: if I had cancer, or if I was at threat of a genuine disease which could actually harm me, would the NHS text me 10 times a day trying to get me treatment, or would I be sitting there waiting for 8 months to get an appointment? They wouldn't care about me and they'd let me die. So the fact that they will endlessly text me and try and beg me to get this poison.
Cancer isn't contagious. You not getting cancer treatment affects nobody but you.
Should have been an alarm bell for anybody with a brain.
Actually, I'll tell you what the NHS sent me. I'm a 58-year-old man. In the last few months, they've sent me one about a flu jab, which I'm going to have, because I think it stops you getting flu, and flu's nasty. A COVID booster, which I won't have. I think I've had enough of those. I'm fine with that, thanks. They sent me one about having a check for bowel cancer, which I've done and came back negative, and so on and so on. The NHS texting system is for our benefit. You don't have to do it. No one's holding a gun to your head. The Matrix isn't saying, if you don't have this, Andrew Tate, we're gonna do something to you.
Do you have any idea?
You've not been treated in Romania by their system because of anything to do with COVID vaccines. And your attempt to try and persuade people that that's the case is ridiculous. And you know it's ridiculous.
Do you have any idea how difficult it was to remain unvaccinated, Piers? Let me tell you from somebody who was unvaccinated and traveled the world.
Oh, let's hear it, guys. Let's hear his big sob story. The martyr, Andrew Tate. Such a brave and valiant martyr deciding to become a plague rat.
Do you have any idea how difficult that was
Well, yes,
actually
because
to do?
countries have border controls.
Oh, because they tried to force everybody. So to sit and say they weren't trying to force, you know what they did? They said, come get the COVID vaccine. It's good for you. It's going to help. They tried to coerce you by being nice. They tried to lover boy everybody. They tried to use the lover boy method to force people to get the COVID vaccine. It just came to...
I like how he keeps going back to this. It's like he thinks he's getting this big rhetorical win. In reality, he's just going back and reminding all of us that he still doesn't know what the hell the lover boy method actually is.
Put all these people in jail.
Andrew,
they were being nice to people,
Andrew,
trying to help them. Unbelievable.
Nobody forced you to have it. Did you have the vaccine?
Absolutely and utterly not, sir. My principles are not for sale. I would have stayed in my house to the end of human time and sat there as a pureblood, the last one, the last pureblood on the planet before I inject myself with poison.
You're not making an MGM trailer.
Yes, I am, because it's a matter of principle. I am not a farm animal. My blood is mine. It does not belong to the government, and I decide what is in it.
Right. All right. So you have a polio vaccine.
What?
But not
Correct,
COVID one.
correct.
So your brilliant brain has determined that you know more about the medicinal and scientific benefits of individual vaccines. And the polio one, you decided with your brilliant brain, we'll have that. But even though a lot of people, by the way, have had side effects to polio vaccine, did you know that?
Yes, correct.
Is that the Matrix doing that?
No, I didn't say the Matrix gave them the side effect.
Oh.
I just told you all the reasons I didn't get the vaccine.
Right.
You already described it at length.
But you work out with your brilliant mind which vaccines to have.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. You realise
You
that.
can join my email list on cobratate.com. You can sign up for free, and I'll tell you which vaccines you
I
should
wouldn't
have.
come to you for vaccine advice.
Why?
Andrew? Because you have zero experience.
I didn't get the
offer me
COVID
any
one.
advice.
I obviously did pretty good. I avoided the poison shot while everyone else got it, so I'm actually pretty proud of my track record.
What happens if you're found guilty of the things you're charged with?
Well, then I'm going to have to go to jail, I assume.
What's the maximum sentence you could get?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I actually genuinely don't.
You've never asked your lawyers?
It can be between 3 to 8 years, I
Right,
think.
so you do know.
I don't know the maximum.
If you were to serve 8 years, having served 3 months and know how bad that was,
Yeah.
could you cope with that in a Romanian jail?
Interesting question. Could I cope with it? Yes. Would I be the same afterwards? I'm not sure.
What do you think even the 3 months did to you as a man?
Well, it was a fantastic test from God to make sure I am the man I say I am, because I think there's a lot of people who speak about masculine excellence who are not the men they say they are. When trouble appears, you often learn that they are nothing but postures. I had nightmares for a very long time. I couldn't sleep. I struggled with certain things. I would check my bed sheets every single night for cockroaches religiously. I had a problem with that. But I never turned to therapy. I never turned to drugs. I understood that all of these things are from God and they are given to me so that I can become a stronger version of myself.
Loser. Who doesn't turn to drugs, dude?
Welcomed them all and I embraced them all. And now that I'm a better, not completely, but almost better, part of me actually misses my nightmares, Piers. Part of me misses training all night. I didn't sleep for weeks,
You
months.
said you didn't have nightmares.
No, I had nightmares. I said I didn't have nightmares in jail. When I left, I did. And I kind of miss it because I had so much time in the day to get things done. And now I'm sleeping a full 6 hours. I feel a little bit lazy. So perhaps I need another test from God. And if God decides, Allah is the best of planners, if he decides I need 8 years in jail,
Oh, wait. He is Muslim now? Okay.
I'll do my absolute best to come out as the most formidable version of myself.
Have you felt suicidal at all in the last year?
I don't believe in suicide. It's haram.
I know, you said that before, but did you feel like you may want to end it all?
I would never kill myself under any circumstances. So the day they put that on the news, when they finally take me out, you can know it's a lie. It's haram. I would never kill myself. Lock me in that cell for the rest of my life. I would never kill myself.
While you're under house arrest, you tweeted this: avoid women who go to festivals. They're either on some loser's table who's feeding them cocaine or in a crowd of sweaty peasants because they're a sweaty peasant. Endless Instagram stories screaming and having fun to prove to the world they're worthless. Hard pass, festy hoes.
Correct. I tweeted that, yes.
Again, why would you categorize all women who go to festivals in such an unpleasant way?
I actually categorize all men who went to festivals also. Did you read that tweet? Why are you gendering the argument? I think all people who go to festivals are stupid. It is peasantry. I've never been to a festival in my life. I'm not going to stand there and scream and jump up and down for some other human like he's God.
It's just random, arbitrary, weird things to like judge people over. Sweaty, disgusting, sick going to a festival.
The thing is embarrassing, all of it from head to toe. It's all sweaty peasantry and it's all just drug-fueled insanity. So why are you gendering the argument when I insult the women who go to festivals and also the men who go to festivals, because all of it is peasantry, head to toe, and I do not regret.
Seems like he's about to break. He seems like he's gonna just snap into some kind of a fit of rage and just start beating the shit out of everybody.
All festivals are peasantry. Anybody who goes, I do not associate with. I've never been to one in my life. I never will.
So if you've never been to one, how do you know what they're like?
I can see enough. I've seen the sweaty bodies bumping into
You've
each
never
other,
been to
high
one?
on ketamine, pretending that the song they heard on the radio at home is now more fantastic because they're listening to it from a loudspeaker.
I get it, but
It's
just
embarrassing.
Has anybody ever seen a man get so mad over a festival? It's such a random thing to get mad about. Oh yeah, also this is the guy that claimed women were really, really emotional.
My infinite brain that understands vaccines perfectly
we've
also
established
understands.
we have established your brain is unique.
Correct.
You tweeted the picture of Amanda Holden, very good friend of mine. It's a very harmless picture. She's in a bikini on holiday under a rain shower, looking extraordinarily beautiful.
In a sexual pose.
And you tweeted, you are a wife and a mother and you're far past a teenager. There's no need for this post.
Agreed.
Again, it's just misogynist to say that.
It's not misogynistic.
Why can't a woman of her age, she just turned 50, why can't a woman of
Can we
that
see the picture? What was the post?
age actually show off her beautiful body in a nice bikini like that? What's wrong with that?
You can call me crazy. You can call me misogynistic, but I think once you reach the ripe age of 50, any woman should not be interested in thirst trapping on Instagram. I think she has bigger responsibilities. I'm sure she's a very intelligent lady and she's done amazing things. She's famous.
Not
she's obviously very
everything is,
capable.
by the way, always like a thirst trap. Not everything is a thirst trap.
Well, I think she could do things more interesting than standing around trying to thirst trap on Instagram like she's 18.
Because
I think she's above it. I wasn't insulting her. I was reminding her that she's actually such a fantastic person. She's done such amazing things in her life and she's so achieved that she's actually above thirst trapping. I was reminding her of her worth because as a feminist, we're all feminists here, right? We all believe in women empowerment. I'm reminding her of her worth.
Are you a feminist?
Sure.
Well, you're not though, are you?
I believe in feminine empowerment, and I think
Okay, so you think her worth goes down if she decides to pose for an Instagram picture in a bikini? Don't virtue signal like as a feminist here to try and get some sarcastic brownie points. You're unironically claiming that her value is decreasing now because she posed in a bikini? She wore a bathing suit? Really?
feminine empowerment is yes, I do. And feminine empowerment
Only
is
if-
in
only-
modesty. Modesty is empowering
Only-
for females.
you only believe in
taking your
femi-
clothes off for men on Instagram is not empowering.
You
it's
actually-
empowering when
Why
you
is it always for men on Instagram? It's just for your Instagram page. Why is that for the men on Instagram?
say, no man but my husband can see my body. That is female empowerment. And I was reminding her of that. I was reminding her of her ripe age and her intellect. And there is no need for that.
How old are you now?
I am 36.
36 years old.
Correct.
At what point will your antics, chugging your cigars in your ripped body in your compound with your security and your Bugattis, at what age does that become a thirst trap?
I don't know if that ever stops being a thirst trap. Because
So it's fine for you. Once again, one rule for the man, another rule for the woman.
Well, it's interesting because I've never heard this argument before.
He even smirked. Like he knew he was just not making sense there.
It's called, I guess we can look at peacocks, right? The male peacock, he shows, look who I am. Look what I can do. Look at my achievement. Look at my beautiful feathers. And I guess you could call it peacocking to a degree. I'm showing the world. I'm extremely physically capable. Yes, that's correct. I'm extremely financially successful.
You stripping off for Instagram is fine.
It's not stripping off for Instagram. I'm boxing. When you box, you have no top on.
You do it all the time with your cigar and you're showing off your ripped body. That's fine for you. But if Amanda Holden dares do it, that is apparently thirst trapping.
I think me boxing with no shirt on is different than a 50-year-old woman punching.
You don't just box. I've seen you.
I'm talking about boxing, you dumb Pierce was being really clear. You've posted time and time again. The famous picture of you is you with your ripped body, with your shirt off. You did your podcasts with your shirt off.
Doing ones where you wander around all moody with your cigar and you're topless and stuff. So fine for you.
Are you a fan, Piers?
No, I just think it's thirst trap.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't do that.
Perhaps it's successful. Maybe you should start. Perhaps it's successful because I do have a lot of female fans out there in the world, and they pretend I'm a misogynist, but it turns out that 85% of women on the planet seem to agree with me. Every single woman I've ever met in real life agrees with me. I have no female hate at all. I've never had negative interaction with women ever.
Yes, you have.
With who?
Well, what about the BBC journalist that came to your compound?
Lucy.
Yes.
I've never had a negative interaction with a female
I
ever.
don't think she was a fan.
I think she was.
I would categorize that as a negative interaction.
Well, she seemed to follow me around for a long time. I think she was a little bit
There are lots of
obsessed.
women, Andrew. There are lots of women I know personally. There are lots of women who find you incredibly offensive.
I don't think so.
Right? It's their right to. It's your
Of course.
It's your right to not care.
Remember a minute ago, Pierce was like, well, there was a girl that wanted me to put a good word in for you. And he was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, huh? Because I'm like, I'm a baller, dude. I'm the top G, yo. And now he's like, there are some women I know also that find you to be really offensive. I don't believe that. No way. Wrong.
Who likes to be treated in the way that you like to treat women.
Well, let's counter that argument, right? Because the world, as I said at the beginning, is nuanced. Am I beloved by all females? No. But when I'm sat here with someone as prestigious as you who says you're a misogynist and you hate women and women hate you.
I think you talk in a way that is misogynistic, yeah.
Okay, well then you make it sound like all women hate me, and that's also not the case. Of course, it's a nuanced argument.
I didn't say all women hate you.
Some women agree with me, some women don't agree with me. When I said that post about Amanda Holden, a lot of women said, Andrew, that's actually completely correct. She's extremely famous, and there's no need for her to be posting video pictures like this at her ripe age. I was actually empowering her. I believe that female empowerment is in modesty.
But you don't actually believe in feminism.
I believe in the idea of...
You believe in masculinity controlling women.
No.
They have to take instructions from you. They have to do what you tell them. And that is actually what love and relationships are about.
No, I believe that men and women have different roles. I believe that we were created differently by God because we are the perfect team. I believe that a man who's in his masculine frame is best suited by a woman who's in her feminine frame. I believe when we work together, we can achieve amazing things, whether it's raising children.
Is this the video with the horn honking?
Best suited by a woman who's in her feminine frame. I believe when we work together, we can achieve amazing things, whether it's raising children or
That's the video. That's this video. It has a horn honking in it.
preserving society. And I believe a man has certain jobs and a woman has certain jobs. You don't understand this about the things I say. When I said there that women make bad decisions in the tweet you referenced earlier, the point I was making is that women are more emotional than men. That is their superpower. That is fantastic. That is a great thing. I love female emotionality. In the tweet before you tried to use it against me, I was talking about how I love a woman to be happy all the time, smiling all the time while I'm stressed. I love female emotionality. The reason women are better with children, is because they're emotional. That is their superpower.
I love women being emotional. That's also the reason why I say they shouldn't really work. And, that's just why men should generally be the leaders of the household and they should take the reins. And women should generally be more or less kind of subservient to the man, of course. But I actually love that women are emotional, you see. It's one of women's greatest strengths. It allows her to serve me endlessly.
That's not what your tweet said.
In a position...
You're not even remembering what you wrote.
Of course it is. I said women are more emotional than men. It's exactly what I said. I'm saying that is a fantastic thing. But there is no light without dark. So in certain situations, the emotionality is positive. In certain situations, the emotionality is negative. We can also argue this.
How can he say this when he has been an emotional train wreck the entire conversation? He's been flying off the handle over simple little questions.
For men, because what happens with me is everyone tries to gender my arguments. We can actually argue the same with men. Stoicism. Male stoicism is positive in certain scenarios. It can be negative in others. We can come across as unempathetic or not care because we're stoic. But in certain situations, it benefits
I know
us.
people who've told me that their kids who are in their late teens, they're at schools where the name Andrew Tate is banned. Nobody's allowed to mention your name because the teachers think that your brand of masculinity is so toxic, they are seeing an immediate effect on the way that young men behave, and not in a good way.
Is that what the teachers think, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I am actually genuinely concerned by the fact that I've been banned from schools when I do nothing but preach masculine strength and excellence. But then if you actually understand how the society is going, how the world works, and all the insanity they're trying to push on all of us,
The Matrix. See what he's done is he's constructed this nice little fairy tale where he says the Matrix is basically everything against him, right? So now anytime anyone has any valid critique of him, anytime they say, hey, this is bad, this is misogynistic, then he can just be like, well, proves my point, because I said the Matrix would be against me. And now you're against me, so that's just the Matrix.
I can understand why they banned me because I speak the truth. If I was wearing a wig, Piers, and lipstick, and telling young boys to remove their genitals, would I have been banned from schools? No. They would have said, no, you can say his name, no problem. No matter how big I got, if I had a wig.
He is such a he's such a chuckle. Look at this dude. Nobody says this, but okay, then again, I don't think he does very much research.
Wig on and lipstick, and I had been castrated medically, I would be allowed to talk to the young boys. But as soon as I say you're supposed to grow up and get big and strong, and if your wife doesn't want a job, you need to pay for it, it's your job as a man, you better find some money, then I'm the public enemy number one. Garbage.
On that last point, you don't say if a woman doesn't want to work, a man should take care of it. You say a woman shouldn't work.
I say my woman won't work.
Right.
I'm talking about my personal experience. I said any girlfriend of mine, because I'm in an extremely fortunate financial position. I was before Romania took everything, of course. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. So because I am in my position, I would not want my woman to work. I think there's more important things she can do.
If you have hundreds of millions of dollars, where you said you had a worth of 17 million.
No, I said they took 17 million.
So where's the rest?
They must have taken it. I think they have it. Or maybe I lost it. I think I lost it somewhere.
You've never had hundreds of millions of dollars.
Of course not.
You haven't, have you?
Of course not.
You said they took all your assets.
He's so bullshitting right now.
Exactly.
Well, did they or didn't they?
Of course, they took everything.
I mean, they'll be watching this. Are they to assume that there are hundreds of millions more dollars they haven't got yet?
No,
They
they're
should go
watching
and
this.
find.
That's right. They take absolutely everything. You have it all.
Right. But again, is that all just a smoke and mirrors? Is that all just the top G stuff that you play up to, which has no bearing on reality?
I was the most Googled man on the planet. I was the most relevant man amongst 18 to 35-year-old males, which are the highest earning and spending people on the planet. Do you really think that I can't pay my bills, Piers?
Right now, yeah. Okay. Someone's paying them for you.
Correct, you're right. Someone's paying them for me, you're right. My girl's got a job. She works at Starbucks. Exclusive, Andrew Tate's girl, top G's girl works in Starbucks to pay the rent. I've been exposed.
I don't know what to believe when you say stuff like that.
Well, I'm telling you, my friend, that the Romanian state...
I think you deployed deliberate smoke and mirrors because you think it plays up to the brand.
The Romanian state has taken all of my money and I'm just, getting by.
He's just rambling at this point. Well, there you guys have it. Once again, Andrew Tate has revealed his depravity. I really like the fact that Piers gave him a really hard time here. I like that he kept pushing back against his bullshit. But my God, Tate is insane. He goes in and out and back and forth from this, obviously he's lying / being sarcastic to then saying he actually means everything to using this as a defense. It's ridiculous.